The following week, we found that there was one of our staff who was actually positive COVID. These are all tiny viruses. You just don't know when you're going to have them, and especially interacting with other people outside. You want to be careful for yourself and also for the people outside. We need to do what we need to do to help the people around and trying to control the situation as much as possible.
Pinakapangarap ko po noon ay maging nurse po ako kasi na-inspired po ako dun sa school nurse namin. Pero sabi ko po, imposible naman po kasi minsan po hindi po talaga sapat yung kinikita ni mama at ni papa para po sa amin.
My daughter was at the university when she started becoming sick. She's got a problem of the heart.
May cancer na nga po ako. Stage 3A na daw po yun na cancer. Halos papunta na po talaga sa stage 4.
Being told that you're in stage 4 cancer, I don't know how I would actually react to that. So seeing them that even though they have that, they still have a smile on their face. They're really striving on po. That's really inspirational. Putting their trust in God and putting their hope against hope, as my dad would always say. And it's through these videos that I think it reminds you that there is God. Even if you feel alone, He's actually there beside you. You just learn how to be patient, learn to trust Him. So I think a lot of it is that's how we're actually pretty similar po, but obviously very different in terms of the trials that we experience each day.
Kasalukuyan po no na papunta na po kami ng Hong Kong. Nagkaroon na po ng problema na nagkakaroon siya ng bleeding. Na hindi pa po namin alam kung buntis po pala siya. Yung time na po na nagpa-check up po kami, nagpa-ultrasound na rin po si Mrs. Doon pa lang po nalaman, walang heartbeat, pero may baka po.
I used to work in a postnatal unit, and knowing that before your child is born, no heartbeat, I think that is one of the most devastating feeling especially for the mom. And I think as what they did po, going to their minister and holding devotional prayer is definitely one of the things that I would have done as well po. Because if anything po, growing up, that's one of the things that my parents have taught me.
Mga kapatid, anuman ang mangyari, mamalagi tayo sa ating pagka-Iglesia ni Cristo. Anuman ang mangyari sitwasyon sa mundong ito, hindi tayo dapat matakot. Hindi tayo dapat mawalan ng pag-asa.
Having an example leader like Ka Eduardo Vimanalo, who really reminds you to be strong, to always remind you what God has taught us po. He's really enforcing that sort of message to us po. He's doing his best. He's like sharing his strength to us po in those worship service, and that is one of the main reason why we always look forward to his preaching, to give us that extra strength to keep going no matter how difficult it is po. We are very thankful po to have Ka Eduardo po, especially during in these difficult times, because as I said po, with his preachings, you can't find a sense of weakness or waver in terms of his faith po. And so we are very thankful po that even though we are in lockdown, he is doing every way he can po, especially during this video streaming po, to share and strengthen everyone in the Church of Christ wherever we are in the part of the world. And for him to remind us po, we are very thankful, because we know there are some, they grow weary, but with Ka Eduardo, he's standing firm, standing strong, and we really look up to him po. He's very dear to us.
Noong 2017 po kasi, dito sa Melbourne, may nakita po sa right side ng lungs ko na nagdududa sila. Hindi po nila alam kung TB o kung ano yun. And then a week after po nun, na-shock po kami nung binalita nung doktor na may cancer na nga po ako. Iyakapan po kami, iyak po kami ng iyak kasi hindi po namin alam biglang may ganung mangyayari. Nalaman po namin yon, pumunta po kami sa lokal po ng Altona. Nanalangin po kami doon.
Kasama naman po sa panalangin namin, tapos panata na mabigyan lang po ako ng pagkakataon. Ibubuhos ko po yung natitira ko pong buhay at lakas para lang po makapaglingkod.
Nung nag-aabang na po ako ng jeep, sobrang puno lahat ng jeep, tapos nakipagsiksikan na po yung mga pasahero. Ako na po yung bumaba para hindi na po magkagulo. Nagmotor na lang po ako. Sabi ko sa driver, kuya, nagmamadali po ako. Tapos nanalangin po ako sa ama na protektahan po ako. Nadaanan po namin yung jeep po na sasakyan ko sana. Nagkabanggaan po sila ng truck po talaga na 10-wheeler po. Sabi ko, kaya po pala ama, iniwas po ninyo ako doon. Kasi may masama po palang mangyayari.
I think I can relate to her in a sense na, especially being in the choir, that you do to tend that by the end of that, you just want to get home to be able to reach the church. It just really shows you po how, God is actually guiding you. That's His way of showing you that He's really protecting you because you're choosing to fulfill your duty to Him. God knew that she wants to perform her duty.
Kaya gusto kong ipahayag sa lahat ng mga kapatid sa loob ng Iglesia ni Cristo ang ating paksang diwa sa anibersaryo nating ito ng Iglesia. Ano po yun? Ilagak natin ang ating pag-asa doon sa biyayang darating.
I think for that really fits especially in terms of what we are experiencing now. Some people, it's hard for them to find hope, but as members of the Church of Christ, having this is what gives us the hope in what to look forward to.
Pagkatapos po ng gabi-gabi namin pagpapanata, lumalo po muna kami ng pasalamat sa lokal namin. Yung maluwag namin pagtanggap na talagang wala na po yung bata.
I have to continue to worship and give thanks to God for the life I still have, God gave me. And I am happy because she was a member of the Church of Christ.
After po nung pagsamba, pumunta po kami dun sa isang kwarto. Andun po si Ka Eduardo. Sinabi sa akin na mayaw ang Diyos, hindi kanya pabayaan. Tapos yung po, pinanalangin niya po ako. Tapos niyakap niya po ako after.
In terms po of the sister from Lady Brand, I just can't imagine how much she is going through losing her daughter and still being able to be faithful and as she promised to still fulfill her duties until the very end. Because we've seen some people, for example, they had a miscarriage and it really depressed them. Their faith grows weak. But with that sister, you can see the way that she's talking po. It didn't really hinder her. She really put her trust in God that there's a reason for it and she will continue on serving to God. They continued praying, their devotional prayer. They also showed to God that, their devotion unto Him.
I am very, very happy to thank Him for everything that He is still doing for us.
Mas lalo po naming napapatunayan na kailangan po naming magpasalamat.
I'm praying that we attain salvation, especially my brothers and sisters who are not yet called inside the church. I'm just praying that God will give us the words and soften their hearts so that you could accept and know where the truth lies for them to attain salvation on Judgment Day.
Sorry. In this life, yes, it's important for us to work, but one of the things that we should never forget is to put more of our time working for God's work, because that's where we actually receive all our blessings. It can be tough balancing everything, but once you feel the blessings that God gives you, it's more than what you ask for. You will just be sometimes surprised. And I think when you learn to really put your trust into Him, put God as your priority, everything else will come into position. God will just give it to you without you even asking it. Sometimes you'll probably just think about it in your head or not even, but He will already give it to you because that's how much He loves you, and He could see how much your heart is devoted in terms of your faith to Him for. Hi everyone! Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brethren React. Hope you enjoyed it. Click the link in the description to watch more executive news content. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any IMC news and updates.